Whispers. More The Whispers 251 of 461 The Best Current Pop Groups / Singers 150 of 218 The Best Musical Artists from California. The Pointer Sisters. The Pointer Sisters. Billy Preston. Natalie Cole. Dusty Springfield. Walker and the All-Stars. Walker and the All-Stars. John Legend. John Legend. Quincy Jones. Quincy Jones. Johnnie Taylor. Or Johnnie Taylor 78 of 101 The Best Musical Artists from Arkansas 35 of 88 The Best Doo-Wop Groups / Artists 14 of 127 Celebrities born on Cinco de Mayo. Booker T. and the M. Little Richard. More Little Richard, The Best Little Richard Albums of All Time 102 of 162 1970s Christian pop artists. Sade Adu. Lou Rawls. The Miracles. Tammi Terrell. Or Tammi Terrell 263 of 363 musicians who belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 195 of 602 The Best Female Vocalists Ever 626 of 753 people we wish were still alive. Billie Holiday. More Billie Holiday, the unprecedented rise and tragic death of Billie Holiday, the best Billie Holiday albums of all time. Solomon Burke. Ike and Tina Turner. More Ike and Tina Turner 497 of 1891 The Greatest Musical Artists of All Time 266 of 1728 The Best Rock Bands of All Time 238 of 265 Rank the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees. David Ruffin. Or David Ruffin 558 of 739 The Best Singers of All Time 184 of 195 The Greatest Male Pop Singers of All Time 198 of 525 Which artist would you bring back from the dead to write one more song? Anita Baker. Mary Wells. Martha and the Vandellas. Amy Winehouse. More Amy Winehouse. Amy is a deeply upsetting documentary that forced us to re-examine her tragedy. 2 of 29 members of the 27 Club 11 of 198 the greatest new female vocalists of the past 10 years. Minnie Riperton. More Minnie Riperton 178 of 816 These poetic geniuses wrote your favorite songs of all time 95 193 rock stars whose deaths were the most untimely. Adelphi. the Delphonics 375 of 541, the greatest live bands of all time 91 of 101, the best musical groups featuring brothers, ranked 23 of 40, the best R&B trios of all time. Lionel Richie. More Lionel Richie, the best Lionel Richie albums of all time 122 of 269, the most trustworthy celebrities in the world 228 of 363 musicians who belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The Righteous Brothers. More 176 of 279. The greatest American rock bands 168 of 263, the greatest classic rock bands. Kool and the Gang. More Kool and the Gang, the best Kool and the Gang albums of all time 242 of 1728, the best rock bands of all time. Patti LaBelle. The Child Lights. The Drifters. Percy Sledge. More 160 of 225, the best blues artists of all time 212 of 525, which artist would you bring back from the dead to write one more song? 149 of 193 rock stars whose deaths were the most untimely. Diana Ross. Commodores. Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. Or Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes 80 of 152. The best disco bands / artists 11 of 30, the best bands with blue in the name. Chaka Khan. Or Chaka Khan, the best Chaka Khan songs of all time, the best Chaka Khan albums of all time. Sam and Dave. More Sam and Dave 28 of 221 bands / artists with only one great album 190 of 219, the top pop artists of the 1960s 14 of 99, the best musical duos. The Spinners. Or the Spinners, the best Spinners albums of all time 17 of 100, the greatest Motown artists of all time 16 of 136, the best musical artists from Michigan. Bobby Womack. More Bobby Womack, the best Bobby Womack albums of all time 392 of 465, the greatest musical artists of the 80s. Tina Turner. More Tina Turner, the best Tina Turner songs, the best Tina Turner albums of all time. The Stylistics. Or the Stylistics 14 of 654, every band and musician who has performed on Saturday Night Live 252 of 464, the greatest pop groups and artists of all time 39 of 107, the best musicians who performed on SNL in the 70s. Isaac Hayes. More Isaac Hayes, the best Isaac Hayes albums of all time 145 of 739, the best singers of all time 233 of 265, ranked the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees. Prince. Whitney Houston.
Houston,
Whitney Houston, Roberta Flack,
the Jackson 5,
the Jackson 5,
Benny King,
Benny King,
Michael Jackson,
more Michael Jackson, the best Michael Jackson songs of all time. The first time Michael Jackson moonwalked on stage, the world lost its mind.
Teddy Pendergrass,
More Teddy Pendergrass, the best Teddy Pendergrass albums of all time. 74 of 252, the greatest R&B artists and bands of all time.
Barry White,
Wilson Pickett, The Supremes,
Earth, Wind and Fire,
More Earth, Wind and Fire. 262 of 816, these poetic geniuses wrote your favorite songs of all time. 19 of 279, the greatest American rock bands. Four tops.
Jackie Wilson,
Or Jackie Wilson. 135 of 265, ranked the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees. 209 of 263, the greatest classic rock bands.
Nina Simone,
More Nina Simone, the best Nina Simone albums of all time. 10 of 602, the best female vocalists ever.
Luther Vandross,
More Luther Vandross, the best Luther Vandross albums of all time. 76 of 316, the greatest singers of the past 30 years.
the OJs,
More The OJs, the best OJs albums of all time. 43 of 252, the greatest R&B artists and bands of all time. Etta James,
Bill Withers,
More Bill Withers, the best Bill Withers albums, ranked 361 of 1728, the best rock bands of all time.
Gladys Knight and the Pips,
More 15 of 100, the greatest Motown artists of all time. 36 of 219, the top pop artists of the 1960s. Smokey Robinson, Curtis Mayfield,
Donny Hathaway,
More Donny Hathaway. 584 of 739, the best singers of all time. 542 of 1891, the greatest musical artists of all time. 168 of 193, rock stars whose deaths were the most untimely.
Al Green,
More Al Green, the best Al Green albums of all time. 64 of 162, 1970s Christian pop artists.
Ray Charles,
More Ray Charles, the best Ray Charles albums of all time. The best Ray Charles songs. The Temptations, James Brown, Otis Redding,
Stevie Wonder.
Stevie Wonder,
Sam Cooke.
Dusty Springfield,
Aretha Franklin.
Aretha Franklin,
Marvin Gaye.
Marvin Gaye.
Hey guys, thank you so much for the support and likes and comments down below, and also thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to see you in the next video. Then take care. Bye.